Have you ever sat at a dinner table at a friend's house, listening to the laughter, watching how their family members serve food to one another, and suddenly felt a bitter lump rise in your throat? Amidst the glowing warmth of an ordinary family, you suddenly realize a quiet, cruel truth. You no longer have a real family to return to. When you decide to walk away, reject calls from relatives, or quietly delete a text from a family member without bothering to leave any explanation, society will instantly judge you. They have plenty of names for this behavior. They'll call you cold-blooded, a lone wolf, or someone who avoids responsibility and lacks affection. Cliche self-help books and outsiders will constantly preach to you that blood is thicker than water. They're still your parents, divided by siblings, after all, and that cutting ties with family is an unforgivable cruelty. But they are lying. And it's time we vindicate your nervous system. The profound truth hidden within your very biology is this: you are not broken, you are not cruel, you are just completely exhausted. Your disconnection, open bracket, a psychological term known as the door slam, close bracket, has never been an impulsive outburst. You didn't wake up one morning and suddenly decide to abandon your family. It is the result of a slow, decades-long neurological erosion. We have to look at the core wound from your childhood. You might carry the trauma of being a parentified child. You had to grow up too fast, forced to care for and carry the emotional baggage of emotionally immature parents, or completely absent caregivers. In that house, you weren't allowed to be a child. You were the thermostat. You constantly had to read your parents' emotional temperature, walk on eggshells, and adjust yourself to keep the room from catching fire. You locked those painful memories away in the basement, but the ghost of emotional abuse still lives in your nervous system, constantly rattling the pipes whenever anyone in the family gets too close. You forged a massive suit of armor to survive that brutal childhood battlefield, but now that very armor is crushing you in peacetime. You've spent your whole life blending into the colors your family needed you to be, to the point where when you look in the mirror, you don't even recognize your own original colors anymore. Constantly managing the emotions of toxic adults just to avoid being abandoned is an incredibly lonely and exhausting full-time job. And then the door slam moment arrives. When your autonomic nervous system has been drained for far too long, and it realizes that interacting with these family members is no longer physically or emotionally safe, it automatically takes control. Your nervous system doesn't wait for your permission. It trips the breaker to protect you from total energetic depletion. Society calls you overly sensitive or too emotional, but in reality, you are a deeply empathetic individual who absorbed the entire chaos of the room because since childhood, you never had a psychological protective skin. That sudden cutoff, the moment you slammed the door, leaving everyone around you uncomfortable and stunned, was actually the moment you finally grew that protective skin for yourself. That was the moment you built an impenetrable fortress. Don't let anyone brainwash you into thinking that cutting ties is running away. Listen to me. Your silence isn't an escape, it's a fortress. Your detachment isn't isolation, it's a sanctuary. When you walk through that door and shut it, you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to react, and you don't have to explain. You become an untrackable, unmanipulable entity. The exact moment you decide to drop the rope, you don't just find peace, you are truly liberated. So, the next time you feel the urge to let a toxic family conversation die out, to slam the door shut, and walk away without a single word of explanation, do it. Do it without an ounce of guilt. If this video finally explains the invisible weight you've had to carry alone for all these years, I want you to validate your nervous system's liberation right now. Scroll down to the comments and type this mantra: I protect my peace. Hit subscribe, because not everyone has the depth to understand these brutal psychological truths, but you do. Welcome to our sanctuary,